Yo guys, Crescent here. Welcome to my Magicka Templar build video for Morrowind patch. Like usual, I'll go into the sets first, then I'll go into the skills, then I'll go into the CP and stuff like that. But before I get into that, I just want to say that Templar got nerfs, got some nerfs last patch. Not as bad as stamina decay, but there are nerfs included for this patch. There's no way to say that Templar is as good as last patch anymore. It got a significant nerf, especially on the healing department. Alright, so my build has really solid stats to counter those increased costs and those weak healings and everything. I wouldn't say that this build could be the perfect solution for this patch, but it is really close to one of the really strong builds I've created, because I'll show you later why is this build so different than other builds. Alright, so before I talk too much in the intro, I'll just get straight into the sets. Yeah, okay, so what are we using? We are using 2 Scoria. Scoria is one of the best set for Templar offensively, but if you're feeling you're getting too much pressure on you, I suggest you run one of these 2 sets. Either you run Pirate Skeleton set, or you run something like Magicka, which is half decent, but I wouldn't say it's really good. It's still alright, I would say. These 2 are the sets that you want to go for. Never run Grota on this build, because I'll explain it later. The armor, we are using Shackle Breaker set. This set gives you really good stats, especially on the stamina department. And what you want 1 or 2 sturdy, but not a lot. You want more impenetrable, because impenetrable got nerfed in CP department, so you want impenetrable. Preferably, I would say 5 or 6 impen and 1 or 2 sturdy. So we'll be running. You just need 511 on this all these pieces. I don't have a heavy helm of Scoria, so I just use light on the head, heavy on the shoulders, and I use belt medium. You preferably want light armor belt, medium armor gloves. That is the best you can get, but this is not so bad as well. I'll just lose a little bit of armor from this setup like that. But what you want to do is you want to have at least 5 or 6 triglyphs as well. It's really important. I put all on my body, head and shoulders. I put Magicka. You could do another way around. You could put head, triglyphs, body, and your legs triglyph. Others you can put Magicka. That will work as well. But you need at least around, I would say, 15 to 20k extra health and stamina for this build. Alright, I'll tell you why later. For Leech, for the Sword and Board bar, you want to put Leech on Sword and Board bar. Powered or defending the best. Don't use Sharpen. Don't. Crit is alright as well. I would say Precise is alright, but Powered and defending is the best. On Shield, Impen is the best. Impen and Sturdy is the best. I don't have that. I don't want to grind it anymore. I did 50 runs of that Leech dungeon. I'm done. I got an infused one. I'm done with it. Alright, and the Leech rings, you want 1 reduced cost, 1 Magicka recovery, and 1 spell damage. You could put 2 reduced cost, but I feel like 2 is a bit too much, because I'm a Breton, so I don't need so much reduced cost. I feel like 1 reduced cost, 1 Magicka recovery, and 1 spell damage is the best for me. If you're not a Breton, maybe 2 reduced cost is better. Alright, and the front bar, I'll be using Inferno stuff, because this is a really single target build, so Inferno stuff is the best compared to Lightning stuff. And I'll be using poisons, the typical cost reduction poisons, or you could use another one that could proc your Scoria. Poison damage, increased Magicka cost and stamina cost. Got nerfed, deservedly so. 30% is not that much anymore, but it's still quite important against those shield stackers. Against those guys that have a lot of sustain, you need poisons no matter what. Alright, and I suggest you either run this poison or this poison. These 2 will work. Both are really good. Okay, so why do I run all tri-stat glyph? It's really important because we will be using Witch Mother Potent Brew. So in our stamina department we will lose a bit of stamina, but for our stats it will be really crazy for the recovery. That's why I'm using Witch Mother Potent Brew. Alright, and what else do I still miss? Potions, as usual. The tri-stat pot will work wonders. Detect pot will work quite nice as well for major sorcery, this one. And the detection, the invincible pot is quite good as well. This one gives you invincible, gives you crit health. Or this one, vanish and major expedition. This one is pretty good to get away from Zergs. Or you can use immune to knockback, immovable potions, health and magicka. This one is pretty good. Or major prophecy and immune to knockback. This is really good as well. All these potions are the typical potions you will use. Alright, and I'll show you my stats, which is crazily good for this patch. Okay, I'm a vampire 4th stage because the increased magical recovery is really important, and I'll be using Astronaut Wonderstone for that 200 recovery. Yeah, like I mentioned before, Witch Mother's Potent Brew. Alright, so how do this build fare against my last build? If you can see, remember that in the CP department we don't have cost reduction anymore, so the skills cost a lot more this patch. But as you can see, for now, without any buff, without leech, without any potions, my stats are really solid. 19k magical recovery, 2k health recovery, 200 health recovery, 700 stamina recovery, 3.6k magicka health. In Cyrodiil you get about 25k, and stamina 14k. This is on my Infernal Staff bar. On my healing bar, I'll get a lot of heal, about 2050 magical recovery, 18k max magicka health, the same, and stamina the same. Alright, so why am I using, you might question me, okay, why am I using Infernal Staff instead of Lightning Staff? Because typical Templar will use JABS, but for my build I'm not using JABS anymore, because I feel like sometimes when I'm in a small group, when I'm in front jabbing people, I couldn't heal my friend behind me, you know. So because you need to aim your healing now for this patch, that's why I'll just go through the sets now, since I cover most of the other stuff already. The skills, sorry, not the sets, since I cover most of the stuff already. Okay, so this build, I totally ditched melee combat. I went full range combat on this build, because it is so fun to play range. Because nowadays, you know, there's a lot of hard hittings, because Impen got reduced, the effectiveness of Impen got reduced, so like gankers will jump on you very easily. That's why range build are pretty solid this patch. Okay, so what are the changes? Of course, you still need your Jesus Beam. This is just for the execute. Got nerfed a lot of times already, but I would say it's still decent. Not the best skill, but still decent. Purifying Light, this is a must-have for every single Templar, because without this skill, you can't kill anybody else. Let's not joke about it. When they implement Purifying Light on Templar got so big buff offensively, because previously you couldn't do anything as a Templar. You don't have that burst damage from, for example, like a DK, you got a leap, a Nightblade, you got incap, you got really solid crit, you got a lot of ambush to increase your damage. As a Sock is the easiest, man. You got frag hits like a truck, you got curse combo, you got your ultimate, you can use Destro. All other classes have really good offensive ability. Finally Templar got one, so you have to use it, Purifying Light. It's a bit cheesy if somebody is getting zerged down and they got Purifying Light on them, but you have to use it no matter what. Our range skill is Force Pulse. Okay, you might say, why use this skill? Why don't use JABS? JABS are a lot stronger. No, JABS are not a lot stronger. JABS deal about if you want to say JABS would, I'll just go through JABS, how it works, alright? It's a melee skill, you need to aim it. It's a small AoE. The damage is decent. The damage is higher than, because I'm using a fire staff now, that's why my force pulse is a lot stronger. But if I'm using a lightning staff, it would go maybe up to 1.2k or so magic damage. It increases every time you hit an opponent until the fourth hit will get a lot stronger. So if the fourth hit land, yes, jab is stronger than force pulse, but it's so easy to dodge jab. That is my main problem with Templar, because Templar used to be able to knock back players, and they got a mini stun which enables you to land your fourth jab. But since they nerf it, you don't have that knockback anymore. You got the snare. Jabs are so hard to land nowadays against, of course, good players, not potatoes. So I prefer force pulse in this patch for Templar, at least in a small scale environment. Okay, you could use another morph of force pulse, which is crushing shot. You get less damage, about 600 less. You can interrupt players, but I kind of prefer to use force pulse because for interrupting players, I usually use javelin, or I just bash them. Usually I'll use javelin to CC them. That is our CC skill. Yeah, to be honest, I might do a melee build for Templar, but I don't think that build will be as strong as this build. I'll definitely do it, because the problem with Templar now, you don't have a melee CC. That's why, who is killing NPCs? Oh my god. Alright, doesn't matter. So yes, bear with me, this is going to be a long video because there's a lot of changes in my build, so I have to explain everything one by one. So this is a hard CC. A really strong CC gives that 8 meter knockback. That is a lot. So you can't jab anymore if you use this CC, because they are 8 meters away from you. You have to move towards them. So so the further you are, the higher damage it is, and it could proc. The good thing about this skill is it could proc burning light. That's why I love it, this skill. Of course, jab you can proc burning light as well, because but it's so hard to land jab. That's why I don't use it anymore. Alright, and Vampire's Bane, I'm using Vampire's Bane instead of Reflective Light, because I feel like Reflective Light is just not strong anymore. So Vampire's Bane is stronger for single target, because this build is centric on single target focus. So I'll be using a single target. Alright, so and it gives you crit as well. That's why it's really important. We are not running inner light. The ulti, there are two ultis you can use. One is Shooting Star, which I prefer because you can do dot damage on the ground, which you can stand on to play more defensively, and the damage is okay, not that good but not that bad. Usually what you do is you apply Purifying Light, you put down the dot, you do one force pulse, you shoot Shooting Star, you instantly javelin them, and then you start beaming. That's the typical combo. I'll show some gameplay examples later, yeah? Alright. So yeah, that is how your combo works, Shooting Star. And another ultimate you could use is, where is that thing? Undaunted. Well, yeah. So Assault. So Assault is really decent. 550k for 3.5 seconds. Unbuff, quite good. It's a lot single target. If you want to go full single target, go So Assault. But I prefer to have just a tiny bit of AoE for Shooting Star, AoE CC. That's really good. Alright, on the back bar is pretty much the same, because we are not running my what is that set? We have to run Major Sorcery now because we are not running Ratacage anymore, so we don't have Major Sorcery at all times. That's why we need to use, I prefer Degeneration, because this is a range build. You're going to do a lot more heavy and light attacks from range. That's why Degeneration is my preferred choice. But everything else is the same. Elusive Mist for the root, get out from root. Breath of Light, healing. Channel Focus, get back your resource, and Major Resolve and Major Ward, and your Cleanse for Ritual. The ulti, there are two ultis you can use again, back bar. Spell Wall is really good. 6.3 seconds, you can reflect all incoming projectiles against sorcerers, against those pew night blades. This skill is really important, and you don't. And since blocking is really pain in the ass now, because it you use up so much stamina and blocking. That's why spell wall is really important. You could also use AoE wise. If you want more AoE in your group, you can use Swamp, Devouring Swamp, get back heal, do decent damage for 5 seconds, cost a little bit more, but gives you an option to go offensive. Pretty good. Both are really good. But for now, I prefer spell wall a little bit more than Devouring Swamp. Alright, so the skills are done. I'll go through the CP now. There's a few changes in CP. So I'll go through the most important tree now, which is the blue tree. You want Blast got nerfed so badly, it's not even worth spending a lot of points into Blast. I just put 20 points, get that 5%, and I'm done with Blast. Spell Erosion got buff, so I put more points into it. I put 50 points, get that 4k spell penetration extra. Because we're not using light armor, we're using heavy armor. That's why penetration is really important. 50 into expert, elemental expert. I don't want to put a lot of points into this because it got nerfed as well. That's why only 50 points. 30 into elf one for that little bit of crit damage. And masters and arm, really important because we are a single target build. Almost every single skill besides the dots will get increased by master at arms. So you want 50 points into this. Really important. 50 points minimum. Alright. Thermocharge 10 points because we're not using JABS anymore. The only dot is maybe the dot from our Meteor, our Jesus Beam and Vampire's Bane. So I just put 10 points into this. So we are really focused on single target abilities for this build particularly. Alright. For the Steep tree, you want 30 into resistance. You see the nerf for CP tree. Usually you will get around 2k crit resistance for 30 points, but now it's just 800. It's not worth spending so much point into this anymore because it's just too low in my opinion. That's why I just put 30 points into it, and I put like 6 or 5 pieces of impenetrable on my body. And then Ironclad, this is just to reduce direct damage as well. You put 50 points into Masters at Arm and 50 points into Ironclad, really important. Thick Skin 5% because you can clear dots, you don't need a lot. Hardy 60 because stamina builds, especially gankers, will kill you more often than ever, so you want a little bit more into Hardy and into Elemental Defender. Another thing is because I'm a Breton, so I get a little bit of Magicka resistance. That's why I put less into Elemental Defender. You could put 60-60 or 55-55, doesn't really matter. As long as you pass the 50 mark. You want 12% at least. Okay? 10 into quick recovery. Quick recovery got nerfed so badly as well, so you don't put a lot of points into this. You see 10 points, you only get 3%. That is really low in my opinion. Alright, Siphoner, you want to reduce enemies' recovery, so you want 45%. Warlock, 30% to just for the break free cost. It's really important. Arcanist, 75%. You don't want to put more than 75 because it's for the next 25 points you're going to increase by 1%, so it's not worth it. Get to 14%, call it a day. It's enough. 14%, 15%, not much big difference. 10% to tenacity because we are using a staff now, so you can do more heavy attacks and restore your Magicka. That's why 10 points is decent. 10 into tumbling. You won't be dodge rolling a lot because instead of dodge rolling we'll be using Mistform to get away from Zergs. So just 10 points. 40 points into Shadow Ward because we'll be blocking quite a lot on your sword and board. That's why 40 points is really important. Alright, that's it for the CP. And yeah, basically I think I covered everything. I covered the sets, I covered the potion, poisons, everything. Skills, everything. I covered the combo, how I use it. Optional skills. I'll just go through the last thing, what you could do. Instead of running Force Pulse or Beam, if you feel like you just don't get the opportunity to use Beam a lot, you could use some AoE. If you want to go a little bit more AoE route, you could definitely use JABS instead of Force Pulse. You can drop one of the CC, Javelin, and you use a Gap Close Toppling Charge as your CC. It's not effective. It's really clunky, this skill, I don't like it, but you could use it instead of these two, and you become a melee build. And if you don't like Radiant Oppression, you feel like it's too weak, Dispatch, Blazing Spear is quite good. But yeah, Blazing Spear is quite good because it could proc Burning Light as well for AoE, ground AoE. You as a AoE as a melee build, you could use Blazing Spear on the ground, so you use the dot on the ground and you fight at that area. Pretty good as well. And as a melee build, you could use Empowering Sweeps instead of Shooting Star. Really optional, but I feel like Shooting Star might be the go-to ulti for Magicka Templar, or even Destro if you want. It's really up to you. Alright, so just make sure that if you run a jab build, you are using Lightning Staff or Dual Wield. If you are running my particular build which uses Force Pulse, you are using Fire Staff. That is the most important thing. Alright, I don't want to keep this video so long, so that's about it for this build video. Hope you enjoy it. This is a really different playstyle. I'll post another video that shows a few gameplay examples on how to play this build. This build is not the best for solo. It's decent for solo, but it's really good in a really small group, like 2, 3 people, 4 people group. It's really awesome. Right, that's it for this build video. I'll see you guys in Cyrodiil, and bye bye.